Good evening, family. Welcome to another broadcast here. So glad that you guys can join us. We're going to be starting here momentarily. We're just giving people time to get on, and so grab your seat, and we'll be starting here momentarily. Okay. Again, so glad that you guys can join us. I hope you had a wonderful day as we are powering through the second to the last week of June. Can you believe it? In a twinkling of an eye, we're going to be in July, and then we're going to be back in the fall again. I mean, it's this is something, ain't it? Anyway, thank you for tuning in, and we're going to give people just a few more moments to get on, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for tuning in. All right, we're down to less than a minute, and we're going to go ahead and get started, okay? Less than a minute. We're going to get started. All right, thank you so much for tuning in. So glad that you guys can join us for this yet another broadcast right here on the Journeyman and Journeywoman, the Journeyman and Journeywoman platform here on YouTube. And remember, the the audio version, we save that as well, and we upload that on our SoundCloud page. So in case if you want to go back and listen, and not necessarily watch, it's okay. You have options here. So, you don't have to just come here on YouTube and burn out your screen, again, to watch another video, but you can also listen to it. We have the video. We had the video here, of course, but we also have the audio that is available right on our SoundCloud page. Again, it's soundcloud.com. Do a search for Journeyman and Journeywoman Radio, and you'll be able to catch us there. Okay. Let's see, what else do I have here? So yeah, nice. Last couple of days, I tell you, this June here in New Jersey has been one that we haven't had in a very long time, and that is on the cool side. It's actually been on the cooler side. Like today, I think we may have hit 70. If we did hit 70, it was like 70, 71. And but yeah, it was very cool. It was cloudy, overcast most of the day. I wasn't complaining at all. It felt kind of quite refreshing, quite honestly. And so it's been pretty nice. And it looks like I'm making friends with a deer. I'm getting close. We're getting close. He a deer and a rabbit. I didn't tell y'all about the rabbit. Yeah, we got it's a little baby rabbit right near our front bush that I remember it was about that big. And we threw some carrots out there. I don't think it was like, yeah, and I don't do those grocery store carrots. So I was like, okay, all right, you then go to Whole Foods then. All right. Anyway, or Hair Foods or whatever they call it. Anyway, but it's been still sticking around, and I would see it. It's like it gets near our door, and then as soon as we open the door, it takes off, but it don't go all the way in the woods. It like kind of stays there and watches. And then I guess once I go back in, it'll come back near. I don't know what he eating, but hey, welcome. And then we have the deer, of course, that now I think it's a she. She just bold. She just be walking on our driveway. Then I open the door, be sitting right there. Ain't scared of a lick. Now, I'm just saying in my experience here in New Jersey, I can't speak for other parts of the country, but here in New Jersey, man, these deers out here, man, they be taking off. They don't take the time to like get to know you and greet you and all of that stuff. They don't do all that. They be taking off. But this deer here is like, I think you cool. I'm like, all right, you cool too. All right. So what I did was I remember, I think it was last year when we got a little bit more snow. I, got some, I was taking ears of corn and I was throwing it out there. You go to Whole Foods, Home Depot, and they saw a bag of it, like that dry corn. Some people say, well, don't give them that. Give them this. Listen, okay? If you got something, just send it to me, okay? And I'll give it to them, all right? And I'll tell them you sent it. But as for me, that's the only thing I knew at the time. So anyway, yeah, they had ears of corn. Is it GMO? I don't know, okay? But he took it to go. How about that? And so we took so I take the ear of corn, I just toss it out there. Man, they be out there eating it. And so that's what I've been doing this go around. I just drop it out there, whatever, and I see it come a little. So I'm trying to like get it to see if it can come a little bit closer, and like tomorrow maybe I'll put a little bit closer to the door and see what happens or whatever, and making friends with our wooded folks. And of course we still put the bird seed out there and all of that, and that's always they're taking care of. You get to see all the different birds that we have here in this state, from the woodpeckers to, birds that migrate up here from the Carolinas and all of this stuff. And it's so nice, and that's why we like doing, videos out there. Nicole and I think we're going to be doing a video tomorrow. We're going to be outside again, and just to hear, I like sometimes rewinding some of those videos. I'm like, oh, I can hear the birds, and it just really is nice. And that's not a green screen you see in the back, when we're outside. We really are outside. And so yeah, we'll be going some other locations as well. And got caught up in the traffic in Philadelphia. Many of y'all heard about the bridge getting burnt out in Philadelphia. And I kind of knew I'm not going that way anyway. I typically don't go, but the other day I just so happened it worked out where I had to go that way. Man, I tried my best. I was literally trying, like a trip that should have took from Center City to up where I need to go. It should have took maybe tops 25. It actually was more of an hour, for me. And because the way I had to cut through the city, I had to cut through side roads and all that stuff, man. It was just something. And then, then finally I made it to my destination. But by that time I was just so ready. I said, let me just get home. And so got home and that's it. But yeah, it really put a serious damper on the traffic in that area. But people are still getting around. I mean, nothing is shut down. I mean, I know you got people on social media saying, oh my gosh, actually the bridge is, I would say, based on the last video I saw, I mean, they're moving right along with rebuilding it. Like it's almost, I ain't gonna say it's almost done, but they're already like, I mean, they're moving fast, and rebuilding that. And then you have to, I mean, that's a major artery for this local area, for people who are traveling. Cause I was hearing a lot of people saying, oh my gosh, yeah, they're up to something, man. They trying to mess up the traffic. And, then it was people who claimed to be from this area. This is what was so strange to me. You had people who were Philadelphians, that were getting on TikTok and saying, people that travel up to New York, people who travel to New York do not go that way. I mean, literally, if you follow that highway, you ain't going to New York that way. You are not going to go to New York that way. Usually take the turnpike, especially if you're coming from Delaware. You're going to take the New Jersey Turnpike, which later becomes 95 once you get past exit 7A, I can't remember. And then at that point, it turns into 95. I think it turns into 95 because the Pennsylvania Turnpike merges there. I'm not sure, but it's somewhere in that area. That's where it turns into 95. But people who are traveling to New York will go that way. They're not going to go to 95. So at the end of the day, it really has it has an impact on people who are traveling up in Pennsylvania, let's say the Bucks County area, or up into the north of Philadelphia. if you're traveling way north up north of Philadelphia, Conshohocken, maybe. I'm trying to think of some of the other towns up there. Yeah, it's going to have an impact on those people. But other than that, I mean, that's why I say you got to know, you got to talk to the locals, man. And but sometimes these locals, I guess they just want some attention too. But I'm like, y'all, come on, man, don't be out here telling these people that. So anyway, but yeah, other than that, it's been a wonderful day. How you guys been? How you been doing? I hope you've been doing well. Came across a video that I was going to upload, but thanks be to this, it was a particular individual that left a comment on this where I found this video. I said almost averted something there. And so anyway, long story short, and we'll talk about this a little bit later. They were talking about the increase of breast cancer rates in the last few years. Gee, I wonder what contributed to that. We can't get into that on this platform, but anyway, the serious increase of that. And so, that's pretty significant. But at the same time, I'm going to get into that later. How about that? I'll do that. But for now, what I want to do is get into this. Just talk to you a little bit about it. And again, if this is your first time tuning in and you saw the title and you're like, okay, when's he going to start? I ain't got time. I got to hurry up here. Well, we chilling here. Okay. We're going to get to it. Okay. So if you got to run and you got to do something, you got to get the pot roast out of the oven, or you got to go take care of the children, or you got to, I just want to watch a couple of videos and then I'll come back. Okay, fine. Okay. But don't be in our comment section complaining. Why can't you just get to the point? Okay, because this ain't the place for that. Okay, we're going to get to the point. And when we get to the point, you ain't going to forget it, especially tonight. Okay, so you definitely don't want to miss what we're going to talk about tonight, because it's going to get very real, very quick, once we get into it. Okay, but first, what I want to do is get into this. I want to chat to you about this, what we have going on right on Sincerity. Again, the website is Sincerity.com. That is our health and wellness store that my wife and I have. And we got a promo going on right now. And my wife is actually, really, she was really into this one. I mean, she's in all of them, but this particular one here, she is, using as a jump off, if you will, is, she says, as you may already know, I am a tea enthusiast. I drink it every day. And yes, she does. Oh my goodness. Yes, she does. And I drink it every day, all throughout the day. Yes, she does. I brew it for Dwayne and our family. Yes. And seen the vast benefits in our health because of it. Oh, look at them. Anyway, it says, I'll be 50 this year. Whoa. I actually turned 35 this year. I'm just playing. No. No, she will be turning 50 this year. And I am very thankful that my mind is sharp. Yes, it is. And my outlook is bright. And I am overall good health. Yes, she is. I attribute a lot of that to my tea drinking. I'm happy to share with you my secret weapon to fighting aging, cognitive and eyesight, decline, sluggish metabolism, sluggish elimination, and so much more. And what is she talking about? It's a new tea that she's introducing. And this is the Laotian Young Green Tea Leaves. All right. It says, I've been drinking this particular tea for many years, and the quality is unmatched by any store-bought tea in the States. And I'm going to tell you, she has been so excited, finally being able to get this tea and get it for y'all. And she did like a whole lesson plan on this thing. So anyway, let's get through it here. And it says, this is the region where the magnificent tea is grown in between the high mountain range and the seacoast. Tender young spring tea leaves stay moist and fresh due to the ocean mist. And these are the reasons why this special tea will always be a part of my routine. And it says, regulates blood pressure, improves heart health, lowers risk of diabetes, boosts brain function, reduces risk of cancer, relieves pain and inflammation, offers antibacterial properties, promotes dental health, and aids weight loss efforts. It doesn't give you AIDS. It aids weight loss efforts. And we can all use some of that, right? So anyway, all green tea is not created equal. And it says Laotian green tea is full leaf intact, helps retain antioxidants as long as possible, considered extremely high quality, loose leaves, no chemicals, young leaves picked and packed fresh in the spring. Now, grocery store big brand green tea bags is broken leaf pieces and leaf dust. Antioxidants degrade quickly. Considered lowest quality, may bleach tea bags and use chemical processing. And it says may sit on grocery store shelves for up to 2 years, losing up to 50% of its antioxidant value. Now, we got a special going on. And what you're going to get is, we're calling it the green tea cooler kit. All right. It's brand new. You get a green tea cooler kit. What's in it? It says cool down this summer with fresh ice Laotian green tea. It comes with the Laotian green tea, 50 grams, a 20-ounce insulated stainless steel tumbler, and you also get 10 honey sticks. You get all of this together. So what you see here, this is what you get. That ain't no joint. I had to look at that several times. I was like, I want to make sure, honey, we ain't doing anything illegal here. They ain't about to roll up here. They ain't rolling it up. Okay, that's not what that is. That's a little, I guess, a little bowl or something like that. Okay, no, we ain't. No, we ain't going that. We ain't doing that. Okay, if you want to smoke it, you figure that out on your own. We ain't helping you. Okay, no, we ain't not doing it. But anyway, so this kit again, it comes with the honey sticks, the Laotian green tea, and you get a cup. You get that as well. And this cup, by the way, anyway, I'm just going to say 20-ounce tumblers come in mint green or silver, different shapes, but both are 20 ounces. And then we're also doing a summer citrus oils to the rescue. And so we selling citronella. Beat back the bugs with citronella essential oils. Click for a great natural bug repellent recipe. And let's see what else we have here. And then we have save money this summer and wash dishes the natural way. Click for a great natural dishwasher detergent recipe. And then it's all there. You just click through on those links there, and it will take you right to the site. Again, the website is sambatree.com. It is sambatree.com. Okay. And that's where you'll find all of that and then some on this great website that literally every month it's grown. We're adding something new to it, and we're very excited about it, and excited about the other things that's going to be coming in the very near future as well. Everything from I think we're going to do a website redesign. There's additional products because we're always reaching out to other suppliers, both here and abroad, developing good relationships with them so that putting ourselves in a position where we can have a say-so in what goes in and what does not go in it. You understand? So we're not just, we just found this on Alibaba. No, we don't do Alibaba. Okay. No, we're not doing that. But what we do is we will find, and we want to make sure that we have the say so we can know all the ingredients, and for some of these we can say, no, we ain't gonna do that. And we need to start doing that anyway, instead of settling for what these people put in. I don't know if you saw the video that I did earlier this week, just talking about the dyes that they put in our food. Isn't it crazy? The different dyes, but it's not just the dyes, it's the impact that it has on your body and on your brain. And I don't know if you saw that video that I'm referring to. This a mother, basically, she showed before, because she was just giving her child their children just junk food, just letting them eat whatever with all these dyes in it. And then once she realized, and their minds and their handwriting was just crazy, it was atrocious. Then she got them off all that. She said, nah, y'all going to do fruits and vegetables, and, had them on some, I guess some other natural stuff. And he writing the King's English. From there, all of a sudden now it's all cleared up. Something as simple as handwriting can a lot of times tell is a good sign of telling you, okay, there may be a little bit something more. You don't just have sloppy handwriting. it may be a little bit more tied to that. You understand what I'm saying? And so, especially for your children. So that's a thing that, you definitely need to pay very close attention to when it comes to even that, it's not, oh, they're just born with it. They're just not a good writer. Well, that could be, but it also could be tied to some other things as well, and, so again, so if that is the case, I would encourage you, just take I'm not telling you rush your children to the hospital, but at least take some time and really, it's an investment of time, when it comes to what you feed yourself and what you feed your children. Because the stuff that I told you, the frustration that I have every time I go into the grocery store, it's a very frustrating experience for me, for real, when I go into the grocery store, because I see how much they put, the crap that they put in there. Again, what the heck is a natural flavor? Did I look that up for y'all? Now, I talked about that, but I don't know if I actually pulled that up for you. Let me see. Hold on for a second. Let me see. I'm just see if I can find that again. Let's see. Give me just a moment. If I can find it right off, I'll get it for you. If not, let's see. Oh yeah, here it is. I found it. Just did just a Google search right there. Okay. Oh yeah, thank you, Juan. Yeah, I thought I was thinking it, but I guess I didn't. Okay, so this simple Google search. So the term natural flavor or natural flavoring is defined by the FDA as a substance extracted, distilled, or similarly derived from natural sources like plants, fruits, herbs, veggies, barks, roots, etc., or animals, which could be meat, dairy products, eggs, etc. So it can be any of those things. And also, when you get somebody saying, they will say, well, we process this, you got to, we're just letting you know, this was made in a factory that also processes nuts, and so you really don't know. And one of the points that I brought up in that video, I said that food eating is a very intimate activity. And when you are going to the grocery store and you're just grabbing stuff off of the shelf, and what you're doing, and you take it home, you're not even paying attention to what's in it. What you're basically saying is, I trust these people enough to make sure that I'm getting properly nourished. Now we can sit up here all day and talk about how wicked these people are and they don't like us and all this other stuff. But if we're not doing something as simple as really paying close attention to what they're putting in our food, instead of just riding on the whole, Bill Gates is this, he's the Antichrist and he's doing that. It ain't just Bill Gates, y'all. There's a whole lot of people that are doing some very wicked things and putting all kinds of stuff in there. I mean, everything from allowing a certain amount of metallic shavings to show up in food. Some of y'all have seen the videos, someone that literally took some cereal, put a magnet to it, and then the cereal start moving. So you don't know, but again, we just simply trust this system that they're going to make sure, well, they'll never do that. Well, they've been doing stuff. And see, it's, we can talk about, they're talking about they're going to inject these animals and stuff like that. Well, they've been injecting animals for a long moment. Have you ever been, for my friends and family and my loved ones down there in down south? You have a grocery store, at least many of y'all have, is a grocery store called Publix. Now, when I was first introduced to Publix, I was introduced to Publix by way of their chicken. Their fried chicken. And oh oh my goodness. Now, I'm going back years ago, okay? I haven't been to Publix in years, so I don't know what it's like now. But oh my goodness, but they had a praying grandmother. They had someone back there in that kitchen. They stole some recipe from a slave or two, something. But all I know this day, down in Georgia, many years ago when I was introduced to Publix, they said, you got to try their fried chicken. I was like, this is a grocery store. Now, I'm coming from the northeast. And, they have fried chicken, in these grocery stores up here, y'all. It ain't the same. I look at, you should see my facial expression when I go, like we have up here, like Acme and ShopRite, and they call us up making fried chicken. I walk by, I'm like, how dare you? Shame on you. Shame on you for serving this and calling this fried chicken. How dare you? Get out of my face. I'm serious. I mean, look, I'm like, this ain't no fried. What? Are they got that much on lock on you? You can't really make, come on, grandma. You know how to make chicken. This ain't it. This ain't no fried chicken. And then they're like, okay, I'm going to get a rotisserie. Maybe they can. No. A rotisserie would be even worse. Oh, my goodness. It'd be a drop of salt on it. I'm like, you know what, y'all? Shame. You brought great shame to the house of black this day. You've brought great shame for producing that. No. Rohan said, is Wegmans fried chicken good? I don't know, because they so doggone expensive. Oh, I'm going to get a little, I just want some, whatever, small dish. I'm in a hurry. I just want to get some rice and some veggies or something like that, and, piece of chicken. Well, Wegmans are like $11, $15. I'm like, does it come with a candlelight and a violinist? I mean, yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah, but they got some good stuff. But man, anyway. But anyway, Publix. Getting back to Publix. You see how much I went off there? Publix. I went to Publix. Introduced to that. Now you got chicken wings. Now I'm not a farmer, but I am familiar with the sizes of regular chicken. Okay, regular chicken. Bruh, I don't know where they get these wings from, but I've never been to a place where the wings were as big as a breast. And they ain't and then speaking of breasts, that ain't breasts. That's breasts that they have at Publix. Them joints are humongous. And they are injecting all kinds of stuff. And I'm sitting up there like, yeah, in that time, like, man, they give you a lot of meat on this thing, and I'm sitting up there not fully accepting the fact, or just, coming to the conclusion that, yeah, the reason why those wings are that big, Dumbo, is because of the fact all the chemicals that they're pumping in there. Why do you think? And then when you look at our young ladies, you wonder why they are developing at such younger and younger age. It's because of these the stuff that they're injecting in the meat, which in turn passes on to our bodies, and that's why you have this. Children experiencing puberty at younger and younger ages. Now, again, I'm not sitting up here telling you do not, eat meat. Some people that's their thing, and other people, I eat meat. You know what I mean? But that's your thing. But at least be familiar with it. And then if you're going to eat meat, just really try to source it, as clean as possible. You know what I'm saying? And, do the best you can. And, but don't. And another thing I've learned too is you don't need to eat meat every day. Like I don't need to eat. I don't miss it every day. There's days I don't even eat it, and I'm fine. So anyway, just some things to keep in mind, because again, all of that plays into your brain and how you process things, and not just your weight. It's not just a weight thing. It's also your brain and your mind. You understand what I'm saying? And that's really what this is about. So this platform that we're on, as I'm transitioning to what we're going to be talking about this evening, this platform, our Journeyman and Journeywoman platform here, we are transitioning to really getting into, making this more about wellness and health, because that is what the need is that we see for our people. And this is something that we have committed ourselves to, and really trying to not just provide a lot of information, but also, have vehicles where people can get restoration and get the information that they need so that they can live a whole and well life. You understand what I'm saying? And so that's what we've committed ourselves to on this platform. And yes, we do have a store that we sell things, and it'd be nice if people buy from there, and many of you do. But beyond that, we want to see if anything, if you can walk away with some additional knowledge and wisdom in some of these things and make those necessary adjustments that you need to make in your life, man, it's all worth it in the end. That's really what it's about. So again, we really appreciate each and every one of y'all. Again, the website is Sabotree.com. We also have a page. It's linktree.com/Sabotree. And that's our free resource center where you will find links to free books. We have a whole library of free books, and we're going to be adding a lot more free books on there as well. Things that you can download freely, and you can use that for your own research and investigation and all of that stuff. Also links to documentaries, not necessarily documentaries we've done, but documentaries that we found over the net that I think you'll find very helpful. And then other links as well, related links. And so again, that website is linktree.com/Sabotree. All right. So you can check that out. So there you go. So, all right. So tonight, and thanks to the moderators that are in the house tonight, really appreciate you guys. Okay. So tonight we are going to have us a discussion. So if you are an individual that gets offended very easily, then this will not be the broadcast for you. Okay. So it's best if you go ahead and keep it right on scrolling and keep it right on moving. But there was something that took place this week. When I saw it, it literally made me freeze in my tracks. You remember in that scene in the Black Panther when he says, "I never freeze." I froze when I saw this, because when I saw what I saw, it literally took me a day to process that. And I think so tonight you're going to get a good part of that processing, if you will. And it wasn't just that what I saw, but it was some other things too that transpired, over the last few days. And we're going to talk about that. Okay. So I think we can just go right on in it and let's go. So as many of you guys know and are very aware, is that this platform, we have been on YouTube. I don't even know how many years now. We have been on YouTube, I would say probably 5 years, at least, maybe even longer, not sure. And when I first started on YouTube, I was a Christian. I wasn't attending a particular church because I think at that point I kind of burned out. I burned out in the church. We have been in small ministries. We have been in large ministries. We have been part of staffs, and things like that. And what kind is this? Did you write? Oh, okay. Yeah. So we have been in part of small ministries, big ministries, medium-sized ministries, you name it. We've been part of them. But anyway, this is tonight's tea. We're going to have some avocado tea tonight. All right. So I'm going to be sipping my tea. So make sure you get your tea too. You got some tea in the house. That's some avocado leaves sitting up in there. So I'll be doing that. And she told me, I didn't even know this. We be selling stuff sometimes. I didn't even know myself. She said, all you got to do is put a drop of lemon essential oil. It'll come up here. Come on now. There you go. Lemon essential oil. Like if you don't have any lemons, for example, in your house, and you're like, man, I just want some essential oil. I want some lemon in my tea, but you don't have lemons. Well, all you got to do is this. I didn't know this. Just put there you go. Just put a couple of drops in there. And that's it. Now you got your lemon. You're getting the lemon in your tea. I did not know that. How about that? Anyway, well, now I know. Anyway, so while that's kind of still seeping there, let's go ahead and continue our conversation as I'm sitting here stirring up my tea here. Um, so anyway, um, so yeah, well, so we've been on here for some time. And then fast forward, we came across it was one day, and this is stuff I actually shared on a video. I will actually make this video. I had this video up on the channel. It still is. I just hid it because I said it's been up there long enough. And but I'm gonna unhide it, okay? And I'll put it up there shortly. I was supposed to do that before. But anyway, we came across, like many of you, we came across Pastor Steve Darby and his teachings about, how we as a people are the Hebrews. We're the real Hebrews. Now, that's something I've heard many times in the past, and, but I never really paid that much attention to it until this one day I did. And oh my goodness, it really changed my life. It did. And learned a great deal. And one of the things I would say that I got out of that was the importance of doing, when it comes to biblical research, making sure that you do your own, do biblical research. If you're going to do it, don't just repeat what other people are saying. Make sure you get into it. And one of the things I would say I liked about all of that was the combination of, because I always had a love of history, always liked history. And so learning about history and also seeing how it's tied to the Bible and all of that stuff, that was really something for me. And to see, at that time, coming to a place where I was like, okay, I finally got the answers I need, and just whatever. I mean, it was really quite something. But given time, what we discovered, and it didn't take so long. What we began to see on our own was a lot of this was basically, a lot of people, not all, certainly not all. This does not represent all, but a lot of the stuff that we were seeing, it was reminding us a lot of the church. It was literally like church all over again. Just a lot of the drama, the gossiping, the backbiting, the fighting, the arguing, the debating, and all this other stuff. And, if you're not doing X, Y, Z, then you're not with us, and all of this other stuff. And you're a witch and all this other stuff. That's probably a newer one. I don't think I've been to a church that called me a witch, but well, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, they ain't say witch, they put a B on it. But anyway, but anyway, so we started seeing that. And when I started seeing that, it made me really kind of put the brakes very hard. And what I mean by that, let me go back into my time in Christianity, just very briefly, and then I'm going to jump back to this point. When I was in Christianity, again, we were part of a ministry out, at one point, we was part of this ministry out in Southern California. It's a fairly major ministry, especially in the area of the prophetic and all of that, right? Somehow we got, connected to it, and man, it seemed like things were just moving and all of that, and met a lot of interesting, nationally known people and all of that stuff. And, but man, my eyes are really open when the things I began to see in there. I mean, things that these people were tolerating behind the scenes. And I'm like it was some stuff. It was like, one case where one of these preachers, their son was literally dating someone who was married. And they were like, well, we don't see anything wrong with it because she's almost out of that marriage anyway. And I was like, wait a minute. Wait a minute now. Nah, no, that's called adultery. Last I heard, that's adultery. You don't do that. But they were like, well, hey, listen, and they were just giving a lot. And so my background, I was like, I'm very black or white. You know what I'm saying? On many things, not all things, but but many things. It's like, no, I can't go for that. I was like Hall and Oates on that one. I was singing that whole song. Can't go for that. No, I was singing all the verses on that one. but anyway, but anyway, so we saw that, and man, it just turned the situation went from bad to worse. So ended up leaving. We left that ministry. We moved out to another. We left that ministry, went to another state, and I know many of y'all heard of Ted Haggard, right? Many of you may have heard of Ted Haggard. Ted Haggard, he was the evangelical individual who later came out and said that he was having a homosexual relationship with some dude, after the dude outed him and all this other stuff, because Ted Haggard was saying that he was going up in the mountains, praying and fasting, but it was actually Brokeback Mountain. But anyway, and that came out and all that stuff. But prior to that, prior to all of that happening, I was with that ministry, not like on staff or anything like that, but we were going to that ministry. Because there were people that we knew that were in leadership that was part of that. And it was like, you need to come out here. I was like, okay, cool. So we were going there for a while, but I think it was after a few visits, I said, hon, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore, because I'm seeing the same cycles happen over and over again. And my concern at that time, it wasn't just for me, it was also for my children, our children, because our children were starting to get older. Our children at that time, they were still small, but they were at an age where, you're going to have to be a little bit more, you got to be mama and papa bear on some things. And the reason why I'm saying that is because they just came out of a situation where they had our children have a very close relationship with some of the people in that last ministry that we were part of. They would come over and say, hey, we're going to take your children and we're going to go out. Now, these were very nice people. This was not trust and no. It wasn't no, like, we're going to take you and years later we scratching our heads. Did y'all do something? No, it wasn't that at all. So, we there, you know what I'm saying? So, those are really dear relationships that we had. And of course our children had at that time. And so by this time, here we are going into another ministry. And I was just like, I'm not trying to go through that again. I'm not trying, because I already see where this is going. And I dropped out. Now, it didn't mean I stopped reading the Bible or stopped believing there is a God or became an atheist or anything like that. I just stopped going to church. We just stopped going. That was it. And I just focused on our family, and just did what I need to do, like I was doing anyway. And so anyway, years and years later, now I can jump back to the Hebrew thing. So come back to that. So that was the crossroads once again that I found myself in. I began to see a lot of these same characteristics that I thought I left behind, or we left behind in the church. But in actuality, they just came right along. We started seeing some of the same characteristics, the same, just the nastiness and the vileness and all that stuff. And then I'm not saying everyone was like that, because that's not true. You got some wonderful, sweet, dear people that are in that sector, or whatever you want to call it, that are very nice and kind and dear people, and I'm sure some of y'all in here tonight, and so we don't generalize. But what I'm saying is, in our experience, we were coming across a little bit too much of that, what we were seeing in the church. And so what it did for me is that it forced me to start digging a little bit deeper in what I was claiming, and what I was standing on, when it comes to, what was being put out, that we're the people of the book and all of that. Right. And so, yeah, I started looking into that. Then I started looking at, okay, who are the people behind the book? Who wrote this thing? And then I started going, kept looking. And the more and more I start looking at this thing, things were not adding up. Man, it was not adding up at all. The Bible says very clearly, it says, out of the mouth of 2-3 witnesses, let every word be established. What I find funny is that for some reason, a lot of people don't apply that to the Bible itself. In other words, if the Bible says, let every, out of the mouth of two, three witnesses, let every word be established, then what are the two, who or what are the two or three witnesses that verify that the things that we're reading in this book called the Bible did actually happen, you know? And so these are things that, you know, I'm just taking the principle that's in the Bible and I'm just applying it to, you know, doing it that, you know, that's a new concept, taking the Bible and applying it to the Bible. How about that? You know, and so that's what we have been doing, and that's what we continue to do. And the more and more we look at it, again, as I've said millions of times, it feels like it, and I'll continue to say it, is that there are truths, there are many truths that you will find in the Bible. There are many wonderful things that you should embrace and you should hold on to. You know, things, like I said, that stick out to me immediately are things pertaining to, you know, the husband and, you know, how the husband is supposed to treat the wife and view your wife, and likewise the wife and how you're supposed to treat and you know, your husband and all of that as well. And then honoring your children and valuing that. There's a lot of stuff that's in there that I would say you should hold it on to those things. And it's funny, no matter how many times I may say or share that, there's always people who just, they just totally miss that, because I'm not telling you to throw it out. I'm not. That would be a fool to say that. But there are numbers of things in there that are true. You know, I love, for example, Proverbs 31. I'm sure many of you know, are very familiar with that proverb, you know, talking about the strength of a woman, you know, in terms of what she brings to the table in the house. She's not just home barefoot and pregnant and all that stuff, and that's all you doing, and lay down when I tell you to lay down and all that stuff. But it really described and portrayed a woman who is very, not just extremely involved in, you know, child rearing, but also taking part of, you know, building a legacy in the home, you know, actively doing it. And playing a very integral part in, you know, in that process. And it's not just the man doing it, it's both of them working together. I think that's a wonderful thing. And again, these are things you don't throw out. You don't throw these things out. But when you start getting to some of the other things, like I said, again, time frames and the names that are used throughout the book, and, you know, there's a number of things that you're going to find that do not line up to a lot of the things that I know for us, we were just simply repeating, but we honestly did not look into and investigate these things on our own, you know? And so until recently, we started doing that and said, you know what, as we are discovering these things, we're going to break it up in videos so that people can kind of follow along, so you can kind of see where we're going with this. We don't have all the answers, but we certainly want to share with you kind of what we've discovered so far. Maybe you find something different. I don't know. But here's the resources. Everything I hear, take all of it. Here's some books, take them. I was reading this book. Here's some videos. Take that. Check that out. Tell me what you think and all that. Always making it very open for people so that you can investigate it along with us, and let's see what we come up with. But right now, there are certain things now we can establish that aren't true, you know, that aren't factual, you know, and, you know, unfortunately, you do come across, and this is to be expected. I mean, that's why I say it's not a surprise at all. You know, you're going to have some pushback. People don't, oh, you're denying the Bible and you hate the Bible. What are you becoming now? And all this stuff. And I'm like, I'm just asking questions. What's wrong with that? And so, you know, very recently, one thing that happened, this ain't the thing I really want to talk about, but recently what did happen is, had people, you know, different individuals that was writing these, you know, if you send me an email and it's like 5 or 6 pages long, I'm just going to be honest with you and tell you that I'm not probably going to sit down and read all of it, because I just don't have the time. I really don't. It's not I'm being disrespectful to you. It's just that I personally don't have that kind of time. You know, if you really feel compelled to do it, then I mean, you can, you know, but I'm just want to be honest with you that I'm probably not going to have the time for that. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, we're just doing so much on this end. But So yeah, so if you do send an email, try to get to the point. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I'll do that. I'll do my best. I'm telling you, I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna do my best, to get through it. But it's fine. I'm not mad at anybody for doing that at all. I understand. Sometimes you just have a lot you want to share. I get it. But I'm not talking about y'all, all y'all people who do that. It's not. This doesn't apply to all of y'all. But there's some people who may have a problem with what I'm saying, which is fine. This is how you learn. Disagreements is how you learn, is through disagreement, especially when it's a disagreement that it's not something that's turning violent, nasty, or anything like that, because it doesn't have to end that. So, if you disagree with someone, you disagree with me, okay, fine, whatever, and we can agree to disagree on some things. It's fine. But what I really have a problem with is when people want you to hear them. But in turn, when you say, okay, well, this is what I am saying on this. Now, I've heard you. Now, can you hear what I'm saying on this? I had someone send this long email. It's like a novel. And I said, well, a lot of stuff that you're saying in here, I've actually addressed already in these series that I did. Here's the link. Check it out. Get through the series. If you have any questions for me at all, just email me. And I'll answer along with you, as you're going through it. Maybe I didn't make something clear or whatever. You know what the person said? And he's not the first person. It's other people that said this. Well, I just don't have the time, right now to go through all of that. So my response was very simple. I said, well, I don't have the time to continue this conversation, because if you want me to listen to you, but you don't want in turn listen to what I'm saying on this, then there's really nothing to talk about. That's, quite honestly, that's very disrespectful. It's arrogant, and it's selfish. I mean, I don't know what other words to put on that. And I come across this a lot, where it's people don't want to take the time to listen. They want you to listen to them, but they don't want to listen to you. And, this is something I have come across quite a bit. And that's going to tie into, now we get into the main stuff I'm going to talk about. But first, let me take a drink of my tea first. Hold on. Man, I can definitely taste that lemon. It's good. Oh, that's good. Actually, that's pretty good. Anyway, so what I want to talk about tonight is, recently I did a video where, we just said Happy Father's Day. And knowing full well that I was going to have some people have something to say about that. Now, in the Hebrew space, when it comes to holidays, when it comes to any holiday, that this system or whatever puts out or whatever, you'll hear people in that space that will say they'll say we're not to acknowledge any of these holidays. We are to separate ourselves from this system. And when you look at the history of these holidays, you're going to find that, that these holidays were oftentimes dedicated to different gods or goddesses or different deities and stuff like that, which, quite honestly, when you do dig into it, you will find that. And they're absolutely correct on many of these holidays. They're absolutely correct. But one of the responses I gave to someone was this. I said, now, that may be their intention. That may be how it began. For those individuals, that's how they started the holiday. They dedicated it to whatever god or deity or whatever it is that they follow. But for me, I do not acknowledge their gods or goddesses. I don't follow them. For me, what I do is I use that time to acknowledge the great men, particularly black men, that we have that are fathers in our community. I put the focus on them. I'm not putting the focus on any god or goddess or anything like that. The focus is on the men that I see around me that I can have an impact on, and just be a word of encouragement to them and say, hey, listen, for those men out here, these brothers out here that are doing this, you doing that thing, you taking care of affairs in your home, and you're being a light and a positive inspiration in your community and all of that stuff, man, y'all keep doing what you're doing. knowing full well that, a lot of these majority of people that are out here, they don't know anything about the history and in 1292 they started this, and most people ain't going to know all of that. And a lot of people who are going, the typical average person that's going to the grocery store or the stationery store or whatever to get a card and say, Happy Father's Day, Dad. They aren't doing that as a direct communication or as a way to show appreciation to their father. Well, the same thing with Mother's Day as well. Everything I'm saying, it can be applicable to Mother's Day as well. Okay. Now, again, this is not, I repeat, this is not me saying, this is why y'all need to start celebrating that particular day. I'm not saying that at all. I'm hoping that I'm speaking to adults tonight. Okay. And as an adult, you can make whatever choice that you can make. Okay. Whatever you decide to do, that is up to you. All right. And so anyway, so what I shared with this individual, I said, listen, yes, that may be true. However, I am choosing to acknowledge our fathers, that are, positive, they're doing positive things in our community and our own families or whatever. Right. I said, but here's the thing. I said, this is where it always goes very quiet. Anytime I write this, I may do a video asking this, and I never get a straight answer. Never, ever, ever. I never get a straight answer on this. And that's this. I always say, if you're going to draw a line, make sure you draw a straight line. I always say that, right? So if you're going to say that you can't acknowledge these days because these days are of the heathen and they're wicked and all this other stuff, if you're going to say that, then make sure you draw a straight line on that, because you do know that every day of the week is named after a Greek god, a Norse god, Greek, Norse, or Roman god. You do know that, right? So anytime when you say, hey, we'll get up on Tuesday, or we'll get up on Thursday or Friday or whatever, you are literally calling out the name of their gods or their goddesses, and the Bible does say, touch not the unclean thing, right? So if following your logic, you are in fact following your logic. I'm not saying this, but following your logic, you are embracing them. You're embracing their gods by saying that. Now, you may have told yourself, or you may have communicated, convinced yourself that no, I'm not doing that. That's just the names they give to the world gives or whatever. But I thought you just said you got to be separate. So it's only applicable to a certain holiday, but not applicable to the days of the week. See, that doesn't add up to me. You understand what I'm saying? Again, draw the straight line. Look at the cash. If I had $1, I'll show it to you. Got all kinds of symbolism on it, that are dedicated to different gods, deities, and things like that. Did you just make a decision to separate yourself from that cash? I'm curious. Did you do that? Because if you did, let me know, and I'll give you my I'll give you my PayPal. You can sit. No, I'm just playing. Cash App. But no, did you make a decision to separate yourself from the cash? Because again, you're touching the unclean thing, are you not? Well, brother, listen, this is all they give us. This is all they give us. That we don't have any other choice. Oh, I beg to differ. You do have a choice. You and your other people who also believe strongly in this, like I said, that's your choice. I'm not mad at you. But if you strongly believe that, I respect that. I do. As one human being to another, I say I respect people that have strong convictions, as long as you don't cross into my stuff. You understand what I'm saying? But you got strong conviction about something, great. I can respect that. But where it gets kind of dusty for me is when you start giving your own self allowances on certain things that are convenient for you. You understand what I'm saying? Like I had another individual that, they disagree. I think it was the same topic, or it stemmed from the same topic. And then they threw in there, towards the end of their comment saying, well, I buy stuff from, I've been buying stuff from Sabotage, and I'm going to continue to do it, despite this. And I there was a lot of things I could have said there, but I said, as long as you hold the same standard that you do with Amazon and Walmart, we good. So what I meant by that is this. In other words, if we're going to have a disagreement about this particular topic, I don't see how that should interfere on that. But if that's the case, okay, I can respect that. But you do know in the month of June, they say it's Black Music Month. I don't know. Then they say it's Gay Pride Month or LGBT Month or whatever. You do know a lot of these companies, the majority of these companies out here are celebrating, not just celebrating LGBT and just, hey, we're going to paint our logos with the rainbow color, but they are contributing millions of dollars to that cause. Millions of dollars. So let me ask you something. So if you find yourself ordering things on Amazon, buying things from whatever store, name the store, that is contributing to things that, according to your own convictions, you don't believe in, are you separating yourself from that? So remember, going back to what I said originally, if you're going to draw a line, make sure you draw a straight one when it comes to that. Okay. And so, so just so people understand, I understand we got, like I said, again, majority of y'all, all y'all, I mean, we don't really have too many problems with folks at all. I mean, you got some people that pop up, but please, I want y'all to hear my heart tonight. This is not for everybody. Okay. If it don't apply to you, then it doesn't apply to you. But I just wanted, you see, I'm not like screaming and hollering and beating down. I'm not doing any of that. We're just talking. We having a good old conversation, aren't we? I'm gonna drink my tea too. Okay. Let me drink another my tea, and I'm gonna talk. We're gonna get into some more. Okay. Hold on for just a second. I'm gonna even mute the mic so you don't hear me. Okay, we're back. Okay, so let's continue. So what was the thing that I saw and I was like, you got to be kidding me. All right. I'm not going to even mention the name of the platform or anything like that. But there was a platform that, they posted their opinion on Father's Day and basically, objected to it and all of that. Again, let me repeat myself again. This is not me telling you must honor Father's Day. I'm not telling you that. I'm not. You do what you want. I don't care. Okay. Just hear me out on this. But anyway, there was a platform that they sternly came out, against Father's Day. Right. And was saying, again, tying it for all the same reasons that you hear a lot of Hebrews do, it's tied to this and that and blah, 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 whatever. And the thing that I saw, because I said, I just checked the comments, just out of curiosity. I just wanted to see what people were saying. And the majority of the comments were from Black women who could not amen it enough. I mean, they were just, that's right. That's right. We are not going to acknowledge this day and all this. I mean, they were just, it was like he just hit that perfect note. And to see all of these Black women. And when I saw that, it did something to me. It really, as a Black man, that really did something to me. To see all these Black women, again, that's just in that comment section. I'm not saying all Black women all make up of this, okay? You got to keep saying that over and over again because people, man, they just be reading stuff in this stuff, looking for a reason to get offended on something. But what that said to me, as a Black man, I already understand that there's a lot of obstacles. There are a lot of things. There's a lot of cleanups that we got to do. There's a lot of things that we're fighting right now. Many men have actually given up completely when it comes to this whole thing of fatherhood. Many men have given up on it. I saw one statistic. They said in African-American families, again, I don't know the accuracy, they may be plus or minus 5% or whatever. But this latest statistic I saw, 64% of African American families are headed by a mother only and no father. 64%, if that is completely accurate, which I don't really doubt it. Like I said, again, it could be, let's just say 59. Okay. Let's take it down a little bit, just out of error, 5% error. Let's just say that. But according to this statistic, 64% of African American homes are headed by the mother and not the father for whatever reason. Are there black men out here who do take care of their children and all that? Of course, obviously that's the case. And there are many of them that do it. But on the flip, when you talking about 64%, if that number is accurate, family, that is end game level. I don't think you understand what that really means. That is end game level, meaning that if that continues in the next 40 years, what we know today as the African American community or whatever, it will no longer be that. I hope you really understand that. I don't know if there's been any video on that. We oftentimes pay a whole lot of attention on white people becoming the minority in the next 50 years. But you do know that works both ways, right? You do know that. I mean, in other words, if we're at 64%, let's just say, in the next 40 years, you're going to have an entire generation of children growing up in a home without a full-time father. The impact that has psychologically on a home, on the mind of a child, is disastrous, to say the least. That's disastrous. And so what are the children to come, their concept of a black family it's going to be completely different in the next 40 plus years. It's going to be completely different, where the leading image is in their head is going to be, well, black men, they're not going to, you can't really depend on them, when it comes to being a father and all of that. This is just facts. Okay. So I have all of this in my mind, right? When I'm thinking about this, when I'm processing this. So you have this religion, and we're talking about the Hebrew world, that takes something like a Father's Day. Again, it's just one day. And you're going to be so adamantly against it because of they originally, it started off, it was an acknowledgement to Thor or whatever. I don't know. Okay. It's like I said, all these holidays and stuff, they have, origins and stuff like that. But the average person, like I told you, ain't thinking about Thor. They ain't thinking about Roman gods. They ain't thinking about Greek gods. They're thinking about the father that is in the house, is being responsible, is doing what he's supposed to do, and they want to honor it at where they are. And what I see oftentimes is, it's like I was watching. I said, I'm just curious to see what the response is going to be on this. Just curious and see what's going to be said and all this other stuff. And I could tell it's just people just a little shell shocked. They're like, I don't know what to say, on a video like this. I mean, if you watch it, I'm just saying, giving, shout out to the fathers. That's all. I mean, it wasn't nothing too deep. You know what I'm saying? But it's just the fact of even touching that is something that, you got a cloistered group of people that have been trained to run away from that. The very thing that we are anemic in, we're running away from it. And the answer that a lot of times these people will give? Well, it's not just one day. It's every day, because the Bible says that we are to honor our father and mother, period. So it ain't just one day. We should never limit it to just one day. Well, I have an answer for that. If that is the case, for those of you in the Hebrew space, if that's the case, that, yes, you're supposed to honor your mother and father every day, then what that means is that when anytime people outside of what you define as Israel, anytime when they think of fatherhood or motherhood, but tonight we're talking about fatherhood, anytime they even think about fatherhood, the very top of the list should be people who call themselves, identify as Hebrews. That should be synonymous with fatherhood. If this is something that is near and dear to your heart, and it's something that, yes, I'm following all the law, statutes, and commandments, and I'm doing all of it. If that's the case, then you should be known throughout the world as people who not only honor their fathers, but you should be a nation full of examples that demonstrate what a father truly is. And a father isn't just someone that's yelling and screaming and sending people straight to hell. Well, you shouldn't be doing that anyway. But when people think of men in the Hebrew space, what comes to your mind? Be honest. Be honest. I want you to be completely honest. When you think of people in that space, I'm talking about men, more often than not, what comes to your mind are people either yelling on the street corners, men that are extremely dogmatic. Again, this is not speaking of all men in the space, because you have some very fine men. You have some men that are doing the basic things they're good fathers and stuff like that. Let me be very clear with that. This is not all men. But what I'm saying is the predominant image that's in the minds of people who are outside of the space. And I will say, if the people inside the space were honest enough, they would admit to this too. Isn't what we would say is a father. You got people who are teachers. Isn't it funny? You got folks who will identify as moray. You got people that will identify as pastor. You got people that will identify as master moray. I don't even know what they got. They're coming up with new names now. They come up with all of these names except father. I'm not saying you should have a title like I should be now Father Dwayne. I ain't talking about that. Because a father is something that you should wear on the inside. In other words, I don't need anybody running around, but father, I don't need y'all. Please don't be doing that. Y'all too old to be doing that kind of stuff, okay? You should be exemplifying that anyway. You understand what I'm saying? You don't need a title for that. And you see there's an entire class of people within that space. They are more in tune. They are more concerned with titles than they are with this basic principle of needing fathers. And our people desperately need that in this hour. So again, if you're going to bring that up as far as, well, this is something we should be doing every day, it says we got to do, okay, fine. Then you should be, what exactly examples can you point to? What examples? And I'm not talking about gathering a bunch of men and marching down the street anytime something breaks out, because that don't solve anything. It looks good. It plays well on social media. But other than that, once you start getting into the details of it, are these men are they learning to be men, or are they learning to be followers of a man? And you're going to find a lot of ministries, if the few men that they may have, the men are trained to kind of look up to the one that's at the top, like, yes, pastor, that's right. Yes, Moray, that's right. And you see a lot of that. I saw that in the church, and you see that even in that space as well, where you just looking up at him like, and all this, like no. And I don't expect, even the brothers that I have around me, I don't expect them. In fact, like I said, again, we have a men's group. It ain't that big. But most of the time they talk, I don't say hardly anything. I want them to talk. I want them as brothers to get to know one another, to work things out. If I got to chime in every now and then, I will. But most of the time, I ain't saying nothing. I want them. I want them as men They work that out, and not I'm like coming off of the mount, whatever, and I'm like, brothers, I have a word for you today. Everybody, I'm not doing that. I have no interest in that. They too grown. They got their own responsibilities and all that stuff. And I really don't have the energy to do that, to be big daddy something. I don't have the energy for that. I don't want that. I don't want the title. I don't want any of that. I want these men to learn how they can work together, build each other up. You know, if they need help or assistance, I'm there to assist. Okay, what do y'all need? Okay, here's this. Y'all need this? Okay, well, how about we do this? Okay, y'all go. All right, if you need me, I'll be over here. But y'all got this. Y'all got this. And that's how it should be. There's no like every week I'm up here and I got a sermon for the brothers here. Y'all sit down. Y'all gonna listen to me for 5 hours. I'm gonna tell you how to be a man. That's not how you learn to be a man, by sitting under up somebody and they telling you all this stuff. 2-3 hour lessons on how to be a man. No, the lesson starts with you allowing that man to be who the Most High created him to be. And if there are mistakes that are being made, have someone that's responsible enough, a man that's responsible enough to come alongside him and say, hey, listen, bro, you know, in love, and try to help him out a little bit. And then if he ain't want to listen, there's some pushback, say, okay, fine. Well, listen, when you figure it out, I'm just letting you know I'm here. That's how it should be. Not all this, I got to come down on me. When you address me, make sure you address me by this title and that. No, man, listen, I'm Dwayne. That's it. That's it. Don't call me anything else, please. I don't want a title. Don't need one. Please, I don't want it. Because that's something that, the title thing is no different than what they had on the plantation. Because you never address the plantation owner as his first name. You better not do that, because they will beat the living daylights out of you if you did that. Well, you saw the same system coming to the church. Well, don't call me by my first name, address me by my title. And then you see it jump right into the Hebrew world. Don't address me as that. I'm not just More, I'm Mega More. And then you see the people, the underlings come, well, triple honors, quadruple honors, 5,000 honors to you and all that. You don't talk to any man. No, it's nothing wrong with respecting folks, but come on, y'all. That's like the Pope. You know what I'm saying? You don't do that. No. You can respect people without doing all of that. You don't have to do all that. So getting back to, so as I'm talking about this, and like I said, just processing this and seeing in this little snapshot of a moment, seeing this, it was black women that were like, yeah, that's right. We don't agree with that at all. No, and I'm like, wow, this is really something. The very thing that we are bleeding right now is the very thing that we're fighting against. And all you have to do, family, for those of you who are in the Hebrew space, all you have to do is take a quick assessment. I mean, you can look in the chat on a lot of these channels. And who do you see most of in those chats? You see some men. Majority of them are women. And there's a reason for that. Because I'm going to tell you right now, you can throw at me, well, we got to do the law, statutes, and commandments. And I'm going to get to that in a moment, too. But that's right, because they got to do the law, statutes, and commandments. You can do that all day and all night. But I'm going to tell you right now, there are a lot of people out there that don't know what the heck you're talking about when you say that. They don't understand that. Do you understand what I'm saying? Again, two things I want to say on that as far as law, statutes, and commandments. In the Bible, there are 613 of them, if I got my numbers right. 613. Everyone, I can say that, unless you can prove me otherwise. Everyone that's saying, that's why we got to do the law, statutes, and commandments. Now one of them are keeping all of them. Now one of them. So if you ain't keeping all of them, but yet you're out in the internet streets telling people they need to keep all of them, what does that make you as I sip my tea again? You're telling someone else to do something that you ain't doing. What does that make you? Hope you got that answer in your head, because I want you to hold on to that. I told you it's just going to be real talk. And the only reason why I'm talking about this is because I see a lot of this. You know why? Is because, when I look at Google, well, not Google Analytics, YouTube Analytics, when you start looking at the analytics and you see, where people are coming from, I'm seeing a lot of people who are coming from platforms who do teach these things. Listen, I am not here to tell you to unsubscribe from people or draw a line in the sand. Either you're going to follow me or you're going to follow them. I'm not doing that, y'all. You subscribe to whomever you want to. You unsubscribe whomever you want to. I don't care. I don't care, okay? You hear what I'm saying to you? I don't care, okay? I don't. Okay, you stay subscribed to whomever you want to. Whoever you deem is being a help and a blessing to you, then you, by all means, you continue to listen to that individual or individuals. But on this platform here, that's why I want to bring some clarity. We're not part of that game. We did a video again. There was 2 videos of saying, one was called Saying Goodbye, where my wife and I, we sat down and we said, we are leaving that space. I'm talking about the Hebrew space. We are no longer part of that. And we went down in very great detail, everything. And we talked about, we gave our reasons. We gave examples. We pointed to a whole bunch of stuff. We were extremely transparent in that video. And I will put the link at the conclusion of this. I'll put the link in the description, I think. Yeah. I'll put it in the description. That'll be the best way to put it, where you can go and you can check it out if you haven't seen that. Okay. But the video's been up for some time. I just recently just hit it because I was like, I'm trying to move away from that. I'm trying to, let's move on to some other things. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's, I still have it. And so, so if you want to watch that, we went through all of that. And, but no, we are not part of that. So if you are in that space, and you come here and think that somehow but I thought you were part of it. And so we all no, I'm not riding with that crew. I'm not riding with all of that. Nope. Not riding with that. So, but Hebrews are welcome. Okay. Just like people who aren't Hebrews, you're welcome too. And everybody else, you are all welcome. Black, white, whatever. It doesn't matter. This platform is an open platform on an open platform. So all are welcome. But what I am saying to you is when you're in our comment section or you're in our chat and you are hammering folks and telling people that they got to follow law, statutes, and commandments, that's something for you to do. If that's what you want to do, that you feel very strongly about that, then you should do that. Okay. But that is not something that I'm embracing because of the fact, again, we did a video on that and we talked about the history behind those 613 law, statutes, and commandments, where they really came from. Again, it's very important for you to know who put together this thing called the Bible. It's extremely important. We have been taught to embrace that thing no matter what and never question it. One day I will do a video on this. I'm not sidetracking, trust me, but it is tying to this. And it's the power of song. There are, when you're singing, when you think about like soldiers, for example, when they get ready to go into battle, I'm talking about back in the day. And even now, you have certain units within militaries that have their own like fighting songs, right? So when they are getting ready to go into battle, that purpose of that mission is like buried in them. So no matter what happens to them, they get an arm blown off or a leg, they're going to, that mission is buried in them. And one of the ways they have, the ways they were able to do that is through music, through song, right? So that what you read, what you've been told, it gets buried. The music is like you hear people say that all the time. It's a very powerful thing, very powerful, but it's also something that can be manipulated. Well, why am I talking about that? Because likewise, just like in the military, just like in the sports world, also in the Christian space or I would say even in Hebrew space, it's the same thing. You're reinforcing things that have been given to you. And so what happens is you become so married to something where no matter what happens to you, you just are, I don't care. When you're part of something that literally tells you or encourages you, you have some people who will, listen, if your wife won't go with you, then you need to leave her alone. If your husband won't go with you, then you just need to leave him. Depart. I can't tell you how many people reached out to me and was saying that, well, now that I'm this, but my husband, he ain't really follow me. I think I need to file for divorce. True story. True. I didn't say it. I'm waving my hand telling you, yeah, this is true story. No, we ain't doing that. My wife and I, we together forever. You understand what I'm saying? But I'm telling you, people who have reached out to us, who have said that they are about to walk out on their spouse because they are not walking, quote unquote, in the truth. I've had numbers of people who have said that, numbers of people. And I'm like, I got to talk them off of the bridge. I'm like, no. You should never be part of anything that's encouraging you to part ways with your spouse. Of course, if it's something where there's a serious abuse or something going on, we're not talking about that. But obviously, if it's something that's in a danger, that's one thing. Then you got to kind of talk to him. Okay, now, does this man, is he abusing you? Well, no, he's not abusing. Well, okay, there's no abuse. Is he taking care of affairs at home? Well, yeah. Is he good to the children? Yeah. Is he good to you? Yeah. But he's still not in the truth. Okay, so you're going to leave him? And it's not just the sisters, it's also the brothers too. It's like, well, I'm just going to leave him. And I've had some cases where, now, my own personal opinion when it comes to interracial marriages is not something I would encourage because I see the agenda behind it. But I don't hate people who are in that. You understand what I'm saying? Nor would I disavow people who are in that. Not at all. But I've had numbers of people who would approach us and say, hey, listen, I'm in the truth. And one of the things I'm realizing is that we can't be married to these people. We can't even be married to these people. So I think I'm going to file a divorce. And I'm like, what? You going to divorce your husband or your wife because you now in the truth and now the first thing you want to do is break up your family? What? And I'm sitting up here like, this is crazy. I don't know about anybody else, but this is crazy. So I don't care what it is. If you're part of anything that would encourage you, or you're listening to people, I'm very aware there are people that teach in that space right now that strongly teach that kind of stuff. That you need to part ways. You need to, you are in sin until you divorce. I'm telling you the truth. You spend enough time in these streets, you'll see it. And we'll tell you straight up, you in sin and your children, they're bastards, that kind of stuff. I'm trying to tell you. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not something that, if you're part of anything that would encourage you to break up with spouses and stuff like that, or break up families, that's a pretty good indicator that you're probably into something that's you may not want to be a part of. I'm just trying to tell you. Even if it's an area where they don't believe what you believe, okay? Even though stuff like that. Even with stuff like that, I know religion or, your spirituality, that's a very important thing. It's an important thing to all of us. But if it's to the place where, now, again, we're not talking extreme situations where one's a Christian or one's a Hebrew, the other one's a Satan worshiper. I mean, obviously, yeah, you probably need to find some other strategies to get out. That's something different. We're not talking about that. But anything beyond that, I mean, if it's just simple, a difference of opinion on certain things, then that's when the two of you need to work out, find those common grounds, find that common place where both of you can work some of these things out. And that's what marriage is really all about. And unfortunately, there's not enough examples to show that to our people. This is why, like I said, listen, we're going to jump on any and all opportunities to honor our fathers, to honor our mothers, to honor these marriages, to honor our elders, to honor our children. Any and all opportunities that are out there, we're going to take advantage. We're going to jump on that, and we're going to, we want to honor these things because these things are important. This is what is needed to build a community. Is what's needed to build legacy. You understand what I'm saying? And so these are the things that we're committed to on this platform. Is just that, And so anyway, so to recap, I'm looking at my time right now because, like I said, this was not going to be too long, but I did want to touch on these two things here, as far as the whole Father's Day thing. So again, one more time, you do whatever. If a holiday comes up and you feel kind of triggered by it or whatever, and you just, I'm not going to do it because I don't want to be part. Listen, you ain't got no enemy on this end. Okay, I'm not going to hate you because of that, or, I would encourage y'all need to shun these people or whatever. But what I am telling you is this, and this is a challenge for people who do that. If you are embracing what we're supposed to honor our fathers and our mothers every day, then what that also means is that by definition, as Israel, you should be the leaders when it comes to fatherhood. People should automatically think of fatherhood when they think of people who are part of Israel. But that's not what the case is today, is it? It's not. There's a lot of titles, but there aren't enough fathers, are they? Same thing with mothers. And the reason why I'm not touching on the mothers thing, because we got a whole lot of mothers and we got a lot of church mothers in that space too. So there's a lot of confusion even in that, because just because you're older, it doesn't mean that you automatically qualify as being a mother, so to speak. It doesn't. That's one of the many mistakes that the church has made. You got a lot of older people, that may say, well, I'm a mother or whatever, and you just as bitter and angry and all of that stuff, and then you trying to pass that down to the children. Nah, you need to go sit down somewhere. You need to go ahead and sit on down. Right now, our men, what's happening right now, as you already are very aware, it is a all-out attack, a war against our men. And any and all encouragement that we can give our men, I'm encouraging you, I'm asking you, I'm imploring you to do just that. Because you who are listening to me right now, it's it. You are the last line of defense. After you, that's it. I want you to really understand this. You are the last line of defense. The people who are hearing me right now, including myself as I'm talking to you, we are the last line of defense. If you're talking numbers upwards to 65% of households aren't in the Black community are headed by single moms, the next generation, it's pretty much, it's a wipeout at that point. The definition, what we have known our Black men to be historically, protectors, providers, and all of that, that will all become a thing of legend. Past legend, but not something that we can tangibly see. There's and as men, oftentimes we will say, when we talk about women, we often say, they're the nurturers of the family. And that's true. They do nurture. But men also nurture too. What does nurture basically mean? Well, the basic definition of a nurturer is someone who contributes to the growth, the healthy growth of an individual. So that's not just something that the wife or the mother does. That's something that the husband should also do as well. Or the father, you should do that as well. So even for you fathers out there who may not be with the mother of your children, my challenge is to you is to make sure that you stay involved the best way you can with your children. And I say it like that because I know there's a lot of, there may be some little history there where maybe it's not as easy or whatever, but you doggone it, you make sure you fight for your children. Okay? You fight for your children. Before you leave this earth, you make sure you leave a mark in their minds, letting them know that as a father, I fought for you. As a father, I did my best to be here for you. As a father, I did my utmost to provide for you. And that's it. No excuses, none at all. None of that, period. That is your mission as a father, to do just that. So that y'all may not be together, y'all may not be eye to eye, But the one example that they can say that they will never be able to take away from you is that you fought for them and that you were there for them and that you did the best you could to provide for them. And as long as you do that to the best of your ability, you did your work. You did it the best that you could. And then there's some of you who, unfortunately, you didn't have a good example of a father. You grew up in a household where you didn't have a father that wasn't there. Listen, let me tell you something. What I want you to understand is this, is that what he didn't do, please do not project what he didn't do onto other men. Because there are a lot of men that aren't like that. Another thing I would suggest for you to do is that if you are looking for a man, one of the worst places right now, it used to be the bar. That's the worst places. Right now, I would say social media is probably the worst places to find a good man. I would honestly say that. Because there's so much garbage and trash out here. There's a lot of misconceptions. I look at some of these young brothers out here trying to give relationship advice, and I'm sitting up here, is you even married? When's the last time you had a successful relationship? You know, and then you listen to a lot of these brothers. Listen, I listen to our daughter, and I hear the frustration. Now, she's young. She's in her early 20s. But I hear the frustration that she sees out there, when she's on social media and she sees a lot of the imagery that's being put out here. And I'm not talking about imagery that's being put out by white people. I'm talking about imagery that our people unfortunately upload when, a lot of these brothers out here, passport brothers and all this other stuff that, all this other foolishness is up here. And people so much, and even in the Hebrew space, talking about, well, women, y'all need to do this and y'all need to do all that other stuff. That's why I said social media is not a good place. It's not. And I'm on social media right now, talking to you. But I want to at least give you some encouragement. And I know it's hard. I know it is. And for you to understand that there are a lot of good men out here. They are. It's going to take a little time for you to find it. And, the Most High, he'll order your steps. And, if it's meant for you, it will happen. But for you sisters, do not, I repeat, do not sell yourself short. Do not sell yourself short for any man. Do you hear what I'm saying? Do not. Don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Because you're too valuable and you're too precious for that. So this is why when I take this whole fatherhood thing, it really cut me into my heart when I saw that, because I was like, these people really don't get it. The impact, and the person that was saying that, this individual has issues with his own father. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Hurt people hurt people. Hurt people hurt people. If you got issues, daddy issues, you got folks out here that, let me be real, you got a lot of folks out here that want to call themselves moray. You got a lot of people that want to call themselves pastor, reverend, bishop, doctor, or whatever. And once you start talking to them, well, how was your relationship with your father? Well, I don't want to talk about that right now. But they want to get into the business of telling you what to do. And some of these people, they go even further and try to tell you who you should marry and who you shouldn't marry. They go even into those crazy, and we've seen that, Nicole and I, we've seen that, and the disaster that always plays out. So I'm just trying to tell you, there are many people, there are channels right now. Like I said, when I tell you, I could easily on a dime, just like that, if I wanted to turn this channel into, we just going to tell it all. We're going to tell you everything that we know and see. We could do it just like that if I wanted to do that. And when I tell you the clicks will be coming, they would. Now, why am I saying that? I'm saying that because a lot of people talk way too much and they put all their business out. And we live in a world where a lot of people like to talk, but ain't a lot of people that like to listen. Well, Nicole and I love to listen. And all we got to do, we just sit back and be like, okay, yeah, I remember that. And don't say anything. But I ain't got no time for that. And she sure enough ain't got no time for all that. We ain't going to do that. Nope. We're going to warn folks and tell people, listen, here are the general signs you need to be careful of. Stay away from these things. Ain't got to mention no names. Ain't got to do name drops. Ain't got to do none of that. And hopefully you get it, or whatever. You don't. You just learn the hard way. But I'm saying that because of the fact we need more people out there that are doing that, because we don't have enough people that are warning people, listen, here's some basic things you need to be careful of when you're out here. And sadly and unfortunately, I'm telling you, a lot of these people who are pretending to be preachers and teachers, they have a father wound or a mother wound. I'm going to say it again. You have a lot of people out here who are pretending or portraying themselves to be a father, or rather a preacher or teacher. I'm going to break down the Hebrew and I'm going to give you all this stuff. Okay, all that's impressive. Well, I'm going to tell you our history. You know, we came over the boat here and we were the Hebrews here and we were this and that or whatever. Okay, good. Thank you for the information. Now, how was your relationship with your dad? Well, I don't see what the relationship with all that is. Well, it does play a whole role in it, because I'm telling you, if there's a cut in a wounding in your heart in that area, with your dad or your mom or whatever, and you haven't been healed of that, everything that you say, everything that you present, it's going to be tainted. It's going to be seasoned with that. I'm trying to tell you. So many are people, they just give me the information. Just get to the bottom line. Just get to no, you don't need that. No, here we're going to take our time. And you know why I do that? Because my father did that. Oh, I couldn't just run in and out. Well, just tell me that. No, sit down. Let me tell you, let me break this down. So son, we're going to just tell me. My dad, I was thinking about this story earlier. One of the things my dad wanted to do, he wanted to buy property, and he was able to do it. He bought a house. He bought a house, extra house. It was like investment property. I could have been like, Dad, okay, just tell me real quick how to do it. That's it. No. I wasn't like that, of course. But he was like, okay, so we bought the house, and it was a tenant actually living in there. And she just was a hot, stinking mess, literally. And I emphasize the word stinking. I have to say it, because she had dogs pissing all up and down the walls and the carpet and all this stuff. And it wasn't just in the carpet. It got into the concrete, man. It was horrible. But my dad didn't run away from that. So eventually she moved out. So what do we have to do? So right there and there, him and I, we were learning together how do you resolve this issue? How do you fix this? How do you do this? So step by step through all of that. Okay, now we got to call your cousin and have him come over and replace these cabinets or whatever it was, or plumbing. I had a cousin that was a plumber, another one's an electrician or whatever. Okay, we're going to do this. And okay, now this is how you work with them. You got to, when you work with families, sometimes they want to drag their feet. You're going to have to stay on them too. They think they doing you a favor. No, this is business. So I had to walk with him through all of that. And what I am saying one more time, as I get back to my main point again, is what you call, or y'all define as Israel, it should be a whole lot of people who are walking with a lot of these brothers out here and not just preaching to them, because there's too many people out here preaching and teaching, but ain't enough fathers out here showing these men how to walk through and how to be good men. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's not enough of that. And what I'm saying is we need more of that. And when you listen to a lot of these people, they have their own wounding. Do you understand what I'm saying? And Nicole, she wanted to chime in right quick here. She's here.
I guess before we close out, hey family, how you doing? Yeah, I was listening to everything you were saying, and I don't remember exactly the quote. So maybe you guys can look it up, all right? But I believe it was a quote from Malcolm X, and it was, the essence of the quote was something about you don't try to lead a movement with people who are blind or people who are asleep. The people first have to wake up in order for that movement to be successful. That's the overall gist of it, right? And I heard that quote a long time ago, but it made me really, really think, right? The people have to be awake first. You trying to organize people, you trying to lead a movement, you trying to coordinate, you trying to do all of this, and people are still asleep. The people have to wake up first. So Nicole, what are you saying? What are you getting at? What I'm saying is this. When Dwayne was just talking about there being so many people out here that are, self-titled as leaders and mores and what have you, but that are really, really broken, but you're allowing them to lead you. I'm here tonight with my sleepy self, and I am very sleepy. I am here tonight to tell you that this is not the season to be trying to sit. What's that mean? What do you mean by that? So many of our people, they posture themselves to sit. They want to just sit at the feet of a more. They want to sit and be led. They want to sit and hear the word. They want to sit and hear that teaching. They want to sit and be in the assembly. They want to sit and be a good, participant under a leader. And they just want to sit and be taught. They want to sit and, I just want to soak up this word. I want to sit.
Yes.
See, that's your habit. Your habit. The habit has been formed for you to go and just sit, quote unquote, under somebody. This is not the season to continue to sit. This is the season. I'm serious now. This is the season where you have to learn how to stand.
Yes.
It's a completely different posture and it's a completely different mindset. And I don't even mean stand because you got to stand and fight. No. You got to stand and think.
Yes.
Your habit has been, let me sit and let me just be told. Be told what to do, be told what to believe, be told how to think, be told who to associate with, be told how to dress, be told. That's been how you've been flowing in whatever religious, background you're coming from. It was a sit culture. And people still, they surf different YouTube channels to see who they can sit under. Because I just like the way they teach. I really like their personality. Let me see. What time are they going on live? Okay, yeah, I'm going to get my seat. You have been trained to sit and absorb instead of relearning how to stand and think. Because I'm telling you right now, if you're going to use a Bible scripture, if you're going to use a Bible scripture, right? In Proverbs 11, it literally says that an unjust balance is an abomination before the Lord, right? But a just balance is his delight, right? So when I look at, if we're talking about the Hebrew space, all I see are unjust balances all over the place. Unjust balances all over the place. On one side, you have very dogmatic male leaders where women are footstools. That is all. That is it. There's, I better not hear anything from you if it's not coming from the bedroom or the kitchen. That's it. And then on the other side, we have relentlessly weak men, relentlessly weak male leadership that cower at the thought of disrupting or angering the females in the comment section or the females that are around them. They cower. They are broken, insecure, overtitled, but they've positioned themselves as leaders. When I'm telling you, when I go out, y'all, I'm telling you, when I look and listen to people, even for 30 seconds, the stuff that I see, and that's not to be braggadocious, I'm just saying the stuff that I can just see, it's like I'm looking right through these people. I'm not lifting myself up. That's not what this, I'm not saying that. I've just gotten my head beat in long enough by life and lessons, and you know what I mean? You if you respond the right way, you'll gain some wisdom along the way. Okay? So when I'm out here looking at this landscape and looking at these people that are calling themselves leaders, and I'm like, okay, that one has woundedness from mother and father. That one really, really had a broken relationship with mother. That's why he hates women. This one over here really, really hates his father. Like, this is really, this is some bad stuff. Why he is so partial to women and will never, ever dare correct it, any woman. Won't do it, but will go hard on men. Like, it's just very crystal clear out here. What's my point? My point is that, and I didn't see whatever video you're talking about with whoever was talking about Father's Day. I couldn't care less about Mother's Day or Father's Day. Ask my family. I don't care. But my question is, I wonder, that person, whoever was going hard about Father's Day, I doubt they would go as hard on Mother's Day. I doubt it. Same principle now, but I doubt it. Why? Because of the women that are following that channel. I doubt it. Off balance. Crooked line. You're not drawing a straight line. If you're going to draw a line, make sure it's a straight one. Make sure it's a straight one in all of your principles. Make sure you're drawing a straight line, and check yourself. Discipline yourself. Am I adhering to my own standards, or am I making allowances for the things I want to do, the things I want to allow? But at the end of the day, what I'm saying is, this is really the season to train yourself to stand and to think, right? Because you have to be able to not only have a relationship with your creator by yourself, and a personal, cultivated relationship, right? So that he can speak to you and you'll know whether you should go left or right, but also so that you can discern these many voices that are out there, us included. Throw us in the pile. Have at it.
Absolutely.
But so that you can refine and mature your own discernment instead of continuing to just sit and waiting to hear and absorb and have people speak into and over your life that are not even qualified. There are people that have disqualified themselves in so many areas of their own personal life, in their own personal integrity or lack thereof. They are literally they have already been spewed out and are now serving up vomit that many people are just clamoring to hold up their bowl. I'll take another serving of vomit. Thank you very much. Let me put some pepper on this and some salt. Why? Because you don't know any better. A lot of these people, they don't know any better, right? Do yourself a favor. Find some people that you can talk to, learn from, that you see integrity in their own lives, that you can gain some wisdom from, in addition to cultivating your own personal relationship, right, with your creator. You have to have both. And when you don't, you will continue to sit and continue to be a trash can for whoever is dumping out the vomit of the day, like the dish of the day, the vomit of the day. That's literally what I call it. You should hear me in my house when Dwayne and I have our conversations. I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't. That's vomit. That's vomit. I'm not sure. I'm sorry. No, that's vomit. I don't even have time for it. But this is the season that we're in. You got to stop sitting. Got to stop sitting passively and just listening to whomever and nodding your head in agreement, and you haven't even thought through what the words they just said. You got to begin to stand up and think for yourself. Question for yourself. You know what I'm saying? And find out exactly what you're supposed to be doing in your life at this time. All right? Instead of just assimilating into whatever somebody tells you you are supposed to be doing. Mm-hmm. You know? Because at the end of the day, and I'm done, at the end of the day, on one hand, we'll talk about white people. You'll hear people talk about the oppressor. You'll hear people talk about the unjustness of this country. You'll hear people talk about all of this. But yet you'll still submit to a religious system that was built, bred, birthed, cultivated by your oppressor. Literally. And you will call yourself a Hebrew. You will call yourself a Hebrew. And I'm gonna stop there because I'm gonna stop because then I'll be really moving into our Who in the L Are You Following series, and I'm not gonna do that on YouTube. But yeah, we gotta start asking questions, and we gotta start really asking questions of the Most High first. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I'm saying? And yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say tonight.
That. And that's what we try to do, even, when we are teaching or whatever over on BondTube, because I told you we moved all of that stuff over on BondTube, mybondtube.com. But you can go to our Linktree page. I will put the page up on the screen again, linktree.com/journeyman and woman. And you'll find the links to a lot of the videos, the teachings and stuff that we've already done. And I told you, I come across people who will tell me that they don't have time to watch it, but they want to lecture someone for hours and hours and hours in an email, going back and forth and arguing over things that we already covered and talked about. And I come across this quite frequently of people who don't want to take the time. We're really big on wanting to, because we'll tell you straight out the gate, we don't know everything, but the things that we are learning, we are more than happy to share, to provide and lay out as much information. Now, it's like I said, it's, there's things out here it's going to require a lot of reading, for many of our people in 2023, even, reading a book is like putting holy water on Dracula. I'm just saying. I mean, there's a significant amount of our people who don't even want to read. They don't want to know. You're taking too long. Just give me the point. Just tell me what to believe. I'm not doing that. I'm not in the business of telling grown folks what to do. I will give you information. I will tell you, you need to read it. And whatever conclusions you come to, on that, at least you came to a conclusion based off of some facts. Do you understand what I'm saying? And not just people's opinions, but some actual facts. And that's what we want to do. We want to give you as many. We're not into giving you a little excerpt and then build a whole 99% of everything I'm saying is built off of excerpts. No, I'm going to give you, here's the excerpt, but here's the whole book. Now you can go read it if you want. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that you can get the full context of what is being said here. And when we made the decision to start doing a deep dive into the history of the Bible and where it came from and all of that stuff, it required a lot of time, and it still does. We're just scratching the surface. And once we start looking at this stuff, and we started saying, wait a minute, some of this stuff ain't adding. It ain't adding up the way we thought it was. Then we start realizing that in the video I did, not last week, I guess it was a couple of weeks ago. It's called, basically it's called Asking Jesus in Your Heart and Where That Comes From. And we talked about how Rome, when they introduced Christianity to those of us whose ancestors were caught up in the transatlantic slave trade, out of Rome's own mouth. This is Pope Nicholas. He said himself, that they are to treat the people that were going to be caught up in the transatlantic slave trade, as slaves, that they were going to be perpetual slaves, number one. And number two, he called them enemies of Christ. That's what he said. He called them enemies of Christ. When you look at our history on the continent, or history of our people, We weren't saying anything about Christ or anything like that. We learned that from them. Our people didn't come over on the slave ship singing about Jesus and praying to Jesus. They didn't do that. We got all of that from them, from our oppressors. They gave us that information. They told us that stuff. And they set the precedent by saying that, no, he's your enemy. Now, I know for some of y'all, that's a hard pill to swallow, but that's historically factual. There's no way around that. There's no way around that. And that's why we take our time and go through, like what I just said. I just gave you a little clip. Go through step by step by step by step. And then we'll say, and people who follow us on Saturdays when we do our teachings, I'll tell you, there'll be a week I'll do that. And I'll say, you know what? I'll see you from 2 weeks from now, because you need to process that. You know what I mean? And you need to take the time and really process that, because it's jarring. I know, but we as a people, we have been trained to embrace a whole lot of stuff, even at our own destruction. You understand what I'm saying? Even to our own destruction, we'll still embrace things. Because why? Because that's what I've been taught. I used to sing about it all the time, and this is all I know. You know, when I'm in trouble, this is what I do, because that's what I've been taught. That's all I know. But I'm just letting you know, no, there's a lot more out there, and we have to begin to start exposing ourselves to the facts that are out there. There are many facts that we need. You got to be a researcher. You know, not everybody can read 10, 20 books in one sitting or whatever. I'm not saying you got to do all that, but you do need to at least, you know, if you're going to base your entire life on something, you, like the Bible says, go back to it. Out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, let every word be established. So we need to start using that on the Bible itself. Find the 2 or 3 witnesses that prove all these different things that are stated and said did happen. You know, start doing that. There's nothing wrong with that. You're just you following right along with what the word says, right? I'm just trying to tell you, like I said again, it's hard. I know it's a difficult and it's challenging, but you have to be willing to do that. And if you're one that has, if you're like, you know, if you have a difference of opinion, that's fine. You know, like I'm talking about when you're interacting with us. But what we simply ask here is make sure you hear the whole matter out before you start trying to lecture anybody in our chat or in our comment section, because we're not here for that. OK, it's not that we just don't want to hear you at all. We just want the mutual respect. And I think anybody would expect that. You understand what I'm saying? But the overall message of this broadcast, I hope, has been very clear. And again, we're not advocating and telling you now you have to invest in these holidays, or some people refer to them as holidays. I don't, you know, whatever you want to call them, that's up to you. Whatever you want to do, whatever you don't want to do, that's up to you too. But what the facts are is that when it comes to things such as fatherhood, we are at the final stage of that right now. Of, you know, we need to do everything we possibly can to uplift these men, you know, the ones that are doing the work. I ain't talking about uplifting the scoundrels and the ones that ain't doing nothing. I'm talking about the ones who have been setting good examples out there. You know, we need to use every resource possible, because it's really that important. And I'm sorry if you're part of any belief system that will tell you to somehow ignore that, you know, then, like I said, again, my next question, like I was saying earlier, you have to see, if you're going to draw a line, make sure you draw a straight line. So if you're going to say it's because of the deep history of it and esoteric meanings and all that, okay, fine. Then the esoteric meanings of the days of the week, or the foods that you buy, or the money that you have in your account, and all of that stuff. Be consistent. Otherwise, don't just pick and choose the things that you want to pick and choose because it's convenient for you. You got to be consistent. And I think anybody would ask that or expect that, for that matter. So that is it, family. I mean, I think that's it. But I wanted to do this broadcast tonight because, again, I saw this coming up in either in our comment section, and then it's something that's been ongoing for some time, and it gets to the point where some people are just scared to death to even acknowledge somebody, say, even birthdays, for example. I mean, I did a whole video on that one time, and people they brought all fire and brimstone on that one. You got grandmother that's 89 years old celebrating a birthday, and then you got a comment section full of people talking about, don't you know in the book of Job that his whole family got destroyed because of I was like, it's grandma. You're glad she's alive. How about that? You're celebrating a moment that she's alive. What's wrong with that? I have people that even email me sometimes. You think I can go to this birthday party? I don't know about if I should or not, because what? Because literally you got people out here that religion has scared them to death to do some of the most basic and simple things. I'm telling you, it may not be you, but I tell you, there are numbers of people out here that are like that. And we just want to make sure that we're absolutely clear on where we stand, where we come from, so that there's no confusion at all. Again, we're going to continue to do exactly what we've been doing and then some, and that's loving and caring for the best of our ability, the people that he brings our way. And by giving you truth, and providing you or pointing to you to tangible resources that you can use, as you traverse or as you walk on that path. You understand what I'm saying? But there has to be a respect too, especially when you're in the comment section, when you're coming in and slamming folks and you have to keep telling them over and over again, law, statutes, and commandments and all that stuff. Well, you keep your law, statutes, and commandments and make sure you're doing them the best way you can. But that is not something that everybody is doing, and that's just it. And you got to respect that. You understand what I'm saying? You can love people, but respect the folks too, because like I said, again, you got people out here, you got many people out here that don't know anything about that, but they love their wife. They love their children. They're doing all the good things that they're supposed to be doing. And you need to respect that. You understand what I'm saying? Again, if it don't apply to you, it doesn't apply to you. But there are many people it does apply to. And I just wanted to be very clear on that, okay? So again, like I said, always, if you have any questions for me at all, you can always email. But like I said, again, what I do ask is, make sure you kind of get to the point, okay? If it's a novel or something, if you I get it. I'll try my best, y'all. I will really try my best. Don't get mad at me if I don't immediately respond to you, but I'll try my best, okay? And I'll get back to you, all right? We love you guys very much. And like I said, again, we love you enough to tell you the truth. And we're going to continue to do that to the best of our ability. You guys take care and enjoy the rest of your evening. And we'll be talking again soon. Take care.